ready? Are you ready? Live from Soundstage 1A in the WDWL TV Multiplex, we proudly present the Two Grumpies, starring the grumpy old man, oh, that would be me, and the grumpy vulture. Take your bow. Oh, very nice, very nice. You've been practicing. Yeah, you're a good vulture. Okay, now you know how you're going to really be good? Back in your corner. Oh, the camera will see you. Turn your head, look at the camera. Okay. Well, friends, continuing on our tour of the WDWL TV Multiplex, you will see we are in front of the Soundstage 1A. Yes, look at this Soundstage. Yeah, I told you, this station is coming up in the world. We're going to have, bands and all types of entertainment with this soundstage. But look at this. And believe me, took me a long time to polish that fucking wood floor. Yeah. You think they were going to let me broadcast from the soundstage without me having to do something for them? Yeah. The CEO says, hey, the soundstage is almost complete. Would you like to do your nightly stream from the new soundstage? I was like, oh boy, yes. He says, well, there's just one little thing you have to do for us. I said, what's that? He handed me a can of Johnson's wood wax, and I had to wax that goddamn floor. Yeah. The one good thing is, I can't wait till the CEO comes out. Yeah, he's going to check the floor. That thing is slicker than a baby's ass right now. Yeah, he's going to step on it and think he's on a skating rink. Yeah. I figured if I gotta wax that floor, am I going to buff it to a glass shine? And I did. And I almost fell on my ass. Yeah. There is one thing I don't understand. What the fuck happened with Faceplant last night? I started, I go to do the playback. I start with YouTube. Playback was perfect. I go to do the playback to double check on Faceplant. Oh my God, I'm all pixelated and all of a sudden it's buffering and doing all kinds of fucking shit. I don't understand what the hell happened. When we sign on at night, we automatically, simultaneously, sign on to two platforms. We sign on to Useless Tube and Faceplant. Every night, we sign on without a problem. Last night, Jesus Christ. I couldn't watch it. It just, all kinds of shit going on. So, for those of you that attempted to watch last night's stream on Faceplant, I apologize for them because I don't know what the fuck happened. I would suggest that maybe you just automatically go to useless tube. But I know there's no commenting on useless tube. So I hope tonight the same shit ain't happening. Especially after all the time I spent polishing that fucking stage. Jesus Christ. Almost as bad as, I like Queechy. Okay, quiche, I call it Queechy. I love quiche. I got this recipe for a very easy seafood quiche, okay? Now, in the ingredients, it tells you can mix and match. You can use crab meat. You can use those imitation crab sticks and break them apart. They're actually like Alaskan pollock. I don't know why they call them. Well, they used to call them imitation crab. Well, they look somewhat like crab meat, but. Or you can use tiny shrimp or baby shrimp. The only ones I know that sell baby shrimp, and they're about the size of your fingernail, is Bumblebee. Come in a blue can, Bumblebee tiny shrimp on the can, okay? So, I decide tonight, when I make my Queechy, I think I'll experiment, since I already did the crab meat one. I'm going to do the tiny shrimp one. So I go up to Mark's. I'm looking, and there's, 50 different varieties of tuna fish, and then you got salmon, and then... So, I asked the stock clerk, I say, hey, I'm looking for Bumblebee tiny shrimp. He says, we haven't carried them in about a year. I said, really? He says, yeah, they weren't big sellers. Okay. So I had to head up that direction. I decided to go to Aldi's. I go back. I'm looking. Tuna. Salmon. Crab. No tiny shrimp. So, there's a girl stocking at the end of the aisle. I walk over. I said, Miss, can I ask you a question? She says, oh, yes, sir. I says, I'm looking for Bumblebee tiny shrimp. Oh, Aldi's hasn't carried them in about a year and a half. They didn't sell well. So I decide, okay, there's one more place which I hate going to, Gigantic Eaglet. So I go into Gigantic Eaglet, and I go back, and I'm looking. Tuna. There's about a 12-foot row of tuna fish. Then there's about an 8-foot section of Alaskan salmon. And there's 2 rows of crab meat. I don't see any Bumblebee tiny shrimp. So I go back to the Bumblebee tuna section, thinking I missed it. And I'm looking. And there was a senior citizen stocking about middle of the aisle, and he sees I'm in a massive state of confuculation. So he comes up and he says, "Oh, sir, can I help you?" I said, "Yes, I have a recipe for seafood quiche." He remarks, "I love quiche." I said, "Yeah, real men don't eat quiche, right?" We both laugh. Ha ha. I said, "This recipe calls for bumblebee tiny shrimp." He says, "I know what you're talking about." Oh, good. We haven't carried it in about a year. I said, "Don't tell me. It didn't sell well. You got it." I'm like, holy fuck. I got a recipe. Bumblebee tiny shrimp. Does anybody fucking sell bumblebee tiny shrimp? Evidently not in my neighborhood. So I come home. I go online. Bumblebee tiny shrimp. Who carries it? Walmart. The one store I fucking hate to go shop in. Walmart. The only store. So just for the hell of it, I call the Walmart at Steelyard Commons. That's the closest one to me. Girl answers, "Thank you for calling Walmart. Happy holidays." I said, "Well, happy holidays to you." I said, "I need somebody that handles the tuna fish section." "Hold on, sir." About 2 minutes goes by. "Thank you for calling Walmart. Happy holidays. Pixie speaking." I said, "Pixie?" "Yeah." She says, "My parents thought it was funny. My name's Pixie." Well, I thought it was cute myself. I was just making sure. She says, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yes. I'm looking for bumblebee tiny shrimp. Comes in a can about the size of a tuna fish can." "Oh, yes. We carry it all the time." I said, "Really?" I says, "I went to Mark's. I went to Aldi's. I went to Gigantic Eaglet. They all told me, oh, it don't sell well." Well, she says, evidently, all them people that try to find it at those stores come by it here because we sell it all the time and we always stock it. I says, "Okay, thank you." I am not fucking going to Steelyard Commons for one goddamn can of bumblebee tiny shrimp. I was like, Jesus. So, I go on to Walmart.com. I can order it. I have to order a case. I don't want a case. I want one can. Can't order one can. You can only order a case. I'm not going to eat that much seafood quiche. So, I guess I will never try seafood quiche with tiny shrimp. Now, I know you could probably substitute big shrimp and chop it up. Have you at least looked at what a price of big shrimp is in the store? In order for me to buy big shrimp, there better be a finance man. I could probably go up to 7 C's we have a fresh seafood place, and buy fresh boiled big shrimp or little shrimp, and then bring them home and chop them up. I would probably need a finance man to buy shrimp from Seven Seas. I really wanted to know what the seafood quiche was going to taste like with little shrimp. Or any shrimp. But the big shrimp have a big price. The can, $3.27 a can. Back in the day, you could get that can for like 35 cents. I know. I bought it back in the day. When I was on a seafood Creole kick. Yeah, see, back in the day, Grumpy tried to learn to cook too. And I had found a really good recipe for seafood Creole. And it called for 1 can of tiny shrimp. You can buy tiny shrimp everywhere. Mark's carried it. Gigantic Eaglet carried it. And we had other stores like Fisher's, Tops, A&P, Kroger's. They all carried it. Now, the only place that carries it, Walmart. And the only reason they carry it is because I can't buy it at Mark's, I can't buy it at Aldi's, and I can't buy it at Gigantic Eaglet. They got the market cornered on Bumblebee tiny shrimp. Pardon me. I need some of my Green Mountain coffee. Yeah, I have Green Mountain called Dark Granite. Dark roast. Very tasty. I'd like to know where they come up with the names for this shit. Dark Granite. Does that mean if I like a light roast, it would be light granite? Yeah, dark granite. Green Mountain. Very tasty, though. Very tasty. I'm experimenting with all these dark roast Keurig pod coffees. So I already got the Rev. Oh, yeah. That stuff wakes you up in the morning. You know, Rev, yeah, it revs your heart. And then I got Harry and David. 2 good Jewish boys, Harry and David. On the box, it says, kosher. Harry and David, they've got the market cornered. They got a ton of shit on the market. Harry and David cheese, Harry and David wine, Harry and David coffee, and probably a lot of other Harry and David stuff. So I've got the Harry and David dark roast. Hey, good stuff. Then today I get the Green Mountain dark roast. Hey, good stuff. So far, I'm batting 100% with the dark roast coffees. Especially the Rev. Whoa. Needless to say, if you're going to be traveling, I would suggest you make a really large a 40-ounce cup of Rev and drink that while you're on the road. Your eyes will stay open for sure, because the caffeine content and that stuff, whoa! But it's good shit. Great for perking you up first thing in the morning. Oh, something that made my evening, even though I was totally pissed off coming out of Gigantic Eaglet. Even though I did pick up some other items. I can't wait to try the cinnamon chip muffins. Oh yeah. I got cinnamon chip muffins. They're huge. I was going to get their fresh baked chocolate chip cookies. Actually, they should have called them chocolate with a little bit of cookie dough. Oh my God, the chips were huge. Then I looked at the price. 18 cookies, $7.99. Right about then, I needed CPR. $7.99 for 18 cookies. What are they? Chocolate chips in the cookies made of gold, titanium, what? Diamond dust? So I got the cinnamon chip muffins instead. So I check out with a real live cashier. As a matter of fact, I had a wonderful conversation with the young lady that was in front of me in line. Because there was a clerk guiding people to the self-checkout registers. Grumpy don't do self-checkout. So I'm standing in line, and I have my bag of items, because they don't have fucking baskets anymore. And I'm not going to take a cart the size of a Volkswagen for 5 or 6 items. So I bring my own bag. So I'm getting ready to unload my bag on the belt. And this lovely young lady turns to me and she goes, "Oh, I see you don't do self-checkout either." I said, "No." She says, "You know, I don't do self-checkout because I realize how many people that self-checkout put out of jobs." I said, "My sentiment exactly." I says, "You and I are thinking alike. I like you." I could see she was thinking, "Don't get too excited. I'm wearing an engagement ring." I didn't like her like that. I liked her for her thinking. So I check out with a very pleasant cashier. Oh, he was chatty. I love a chatty cashier. So I walk out into the parking lot, and I get in the shit box. And I'm getting ready to start the shit box. And there's this big Ford F-150 in front of me. Now, there is a handicap parking sign on a post in a big, huge chunk of concrete. Yeah, the concrete was about as big as a golf cart. The headlights come on the F-150, and all of a sudden, it crashes into this big concrete block in front of me, and it shoves the block and almost hits the front of the shit box. So I jump out of the truck. I walk around. There's a young woman in the truck, kind of like paralyzed. And I said, "Are you okay?" She goes, "Oh my God, I thought I had it in reverse." I said, "No, you had it in drive." And really, if you'd have had it in reverse and stepped on the accelerator like you did, you'd have probably hit the vehicle behind you. She says, "Oh, I just had one of them days." Whew. Thank God there was a concrete block in front of her. Jesus Christ. She'd have hit me with that F-150. She'd have drove me about 15 aisles down, and the shit box would have been the size of a shopping cart. Then the typical line, "Oh, my husband's going to kill me." I said, "Oh, your husband's truck?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, he'll get over it." She said, "No, it's only a week old." No! Her husband's going to fucking kill her. Oh, yeah, she bent that nice big chrome front bumper. Oh. He ain't going to be happy when she gets home. I was thinking there were probably some ways she could make him happy when she gets home before she tells him about the bumper on his brand new truck. But Grumpy's mind always goes in the gutter anyway. But yeah, week old, brand new F-150 that looked like it had every option on it. And now it has a front bumper with a big U shape in the front of it. Not a factory design either. Yeah, she whacked that concrete block. I thought it was coming back inside my truck. That handicap parking sign was going, "Whoa." Yeah. Thank God for that big concrete block. But yeah, I'm sitting there just getting ready to put my seatbelt on. You know, had the key in the ignition. And then all of a sudden, blam! I was like, holy shit. Yeah. I thought I had it in reverse. The way she stepped on the accelerator, had she had it in reverse, she'd have nailed the vehicle behind her. And luckily, she didn't go in reverse because there were people walking behind the truck. Yeah, the noise that made hitting that concrete block drew a nice crowd, too. She thought she was embarrassed talking to me. She should have looked around and said about 30 people, all with big smirks on their face, going, "Look what this dumb bitch did." She actually moved that concrete block. When I went to get back in the shit box, it was about 3 inches from the front of my grill. I was like, whoa, did she nail it? See, that's part of the problem with these new vehicles. You know, you step on the brake to start it, and then once it starts, you step on the brake again, and you put it in gear, and instead of gently taking your foot off the brake and touching the accelerator, we stomp on the accelerator like we're stomping on the brake again. And then some of these new vehicles, instead of having a shifter or a shifter on the console, you turn a little knob. Who the fuck thought that up? Oh, we won't have a shifter anymore. We'll just have a little knob. Yeah, it's all this electronic bullshit. See, if you have a shifter on the column or on the console, the engineers have to engineer and design linkages to connect to the transmission. Then they have to design a nice fancy shifter. And of course, they have to design a nice fancy console. Well, with a little electronic spin knob, you don't have to design all that shit. Not to mention, the factory don't have to produce linkages and all this other stuff. Just a couple of relays and solenoids to move that lever on the transmission back and forth. Spin the dial. I'll never forget the first time I got in my buddy's Dodge Ram. And he started it up, and I'm looking around. He said, "What are you looking for?" I says, "How do you put it in gear?" He goes, "Oh, this spin knob." I said, "What?" "Oh, yeah. I just dial it to reverse or dial it to drive, and I don't have to do all that shifting anymore." Then, a friend of mine's car has drive-by-wire, steer-by-wire, pardon me, steer-by-wire. You know, there's nothing that connects the steering column to the front wheels. It's all electric motors. Back in my day, there was a rod that went down the center of the steering column, and it connected to a steering box. Not today. All electric. No connecting rod. My thought is, what happens if, like, one of those relays or sensors fails? How the fuck do you steer the vehicle? You ain't got nothing connecting the steering wheel to the steering box to turn the wheels. You Detroit engineers are fucking whacked out. You think I'm going to drive a vehicle with a steering wheel that don't connect to the front wheels? I don't think so. And don't give me this. They've been flying planes by wires for years. I don't want no joystick in my vehicle. When I turn the steering wheel, I want there to be a rod from that steering wheel down to the steering box. Because I don't trust your relays and solenoids and little motors. No. Yeah. Steer by wire. Everything's by wire. Some cars, the accelerator doesn't connect to the throttle plates. No. It's throttle by wire. Some cars are brake by wire. What happens if you have a massive electronic failure? Oh, they give you this, oh, we have redundancy and backup systems. I don't care. I want my accelerator connected to my throttle plate. I want my brake pedal connected to the master cylinder. And I want my steering wheel connected to the steering box. Grumpy don't trust all your electronic fucking gizmos. Yeah. Steer by wire, brake by wire, accelerate by wire. Next thing it'll be die by wire. You know, Detroit and all you other manufacturing facilities, you're cheapening the goddamn cars. Every year you're trying to figure out how to do away with something. Why don't we do away with the price increases? Back in my day, the average car was like $3,000. Now on some of these cars, that's the cost of an accessory package. Yeah, my buddy's Lincoln Navigator, the stereo system upgrade was $3,000. The sticker price, $131,000 for something you drive. The average car today, about $28,000 for a baseline strip out piece of crap. And you engineers keep trying to figure out how to do away with things and make it cheaper to build that car. I ain't driving something where the accelerator, the brake, and the steering wheel aren't connected. I ain't driving by wire. Got it, engineers? I know there's no engineers watching me. I'm hoping the word would get out. Yeah, drive by wire. Oh, planes have been flying by wire for years. I'm not in a plane. I'm in a car. On the road. With multiple cars around me. Up in the air. You don't look next to you and see another plane. You don't see a plane passing you on the other side. No. Just for safety's sake, they spaced them out. Not on the ground. They're bumper to bumper. And if your steer-by-wire system happens to fuck up, you're going to be like the woman that hit the big concrete block in front of me. Oh, I wanted to laugh. Oh, God. It took everything not to laugh. Especially after I realized, thank God, that big chunk of concrete didn't hit me. But yeah, I really wanted to follow her home and then be outside the door or have my ear to a window. Honey, how was your day? Oh, yeah, it was okay. Boss was on my ass all afternoon. Oh. Why do you ask, dear? Oh, we'll leave it for later. It's not important. Are you sure? No, not important. I think I'll go out in the garage and get me a beer. No, I'll go get it for you, sweetheart. Why? Well, I have to get something from the garage anyway. Well, I'll get it for you. You're in the middle of fixing dinner. No, no, no. I'll go get you a beer. She comes in with 12. How come you brought 12 in, dear? Well, to save you a trip. But I have a beer cooler out in the garage. You didn't want me cluttering the refrigerator up with my beer bottles. Oh, that's okay tonight. No problem. I got room in the fridge anyway. Here, I'll open it for you. When did you learn that trick? What trick? Well, you opened the bottle with your teeth. I did? Oh. That's okay. The bottle's open, dear. Here you go. And she goes in the bathroom going, oh, my God, I chipped all my fucking teeth. Now there's going to be a dentist bill. Oh, I'm going to piss him off even more. And then while she's in the... while she's in the bathroom checking her teeth, he remembers he left something in the truck. So he goes out in the garage, and you hear, wow, what the fuck happened to my truck? And immediately she goes out the back door, and she runs. Yeah, week-old F-150 with a bumper with a big U in it. And probably a cracked grill. I didn't look that close. Because she asked me, oh, does it look bad? I said, no, it just dented the bumper a little bit. I didn't want to tell her, well, let's see, you bent the bumper, you broke the grill, the radiator's cracked now. All the sensors in the front end got to be replaced. Cha-ching. Yeah, I can imagine when she got home. Honey, I put a little dent in your truck. My week-old truck? Where's the dent? What? Just a little dent in the front bumper. You can't even notice it. Are you sure? Oh, I better go look at it. Then he goes out in the garage and looks at it. And she runs out the back door. When he sees a bumper with a big U in it. And I could guarantee the crash bar behind it was probably bent. The grill's probably cracked and broken. Oh, she whacked it hard. Yeah. That would have been an interesting dinner conversation. Honey, I have something to tell you. What's that, sweetheart? I put a little dent in the front bumper of your truck. You bitch! That'd be at my house. She'd be sleeping in the garage next to my damaged truck. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when she got, oh, it's only a week old. Oh! Once that truck is fixed, she won't even be allowed to sit in it. If they go to a party, she'll have to drive her car and he'll drive his truck because I guarantee she ain't getting near that truck for years. Even when it's an old rot shit box like my Nissan. Honey, can I take the truck to the store? No! You're liable to bend the bumper again. Well, the bumper's about ready to fall off every time you slam the door. Never mind. I could see after he gets it fixed. Every night he's out there polishing the bumper. Oh. hugging his truck. Oh, she didn't mean it. Week old. Week old. I guess she didn't, what's the shifter? Let's see, R. No, I don't want R. I want D. Oh, I wanted R. I didn't bother to look inside. I don't know if it had a dial or a console shifter. Now, if it had the dial, I could see maybe she blame it on, that goofy dial went bad. If it had a shifter on the console, there ain't no blaming the shifter. No. Blaming her not paying attention to what she do. Then she steps on it yet. That's the thing that really got me. When you put your car in reverse, you keep your foot on the brake, you look around, and then you slowly back out of your parking space. No. She put it in gear. Poof. Ew. She'll blame it on, unintended acceleration. Like the Toyotas years ago. Yeah. When all of a sudden they would just take off and crash into shit. Yeah, unintended. They never did figure out why. But the strange thing was, it only happened in automatics. There was never any sudden unintended acceleration with a manual. So evidently, people years back weren't paying attention to what they were fucking doing in their Toyotas. They were blaming on the floor mat. Oh, the floor mat got caught under pushed on the accelerator. That crock of bullshit that was. So, not being able to find my cans of tiny shrimp and leaving gigantic eaglet pissed off, she made my day. I drove home with a smile on my face. I was like, oh boy, I can't believe she was that dumb for one. And I would love to be around her house when she got home. Week-old truck. Yeah. With a huge U in the front bumper now. Oh, yeah, she hit it hard. Either that or these bumpers are so flimsy on these vehicles, but she bent the fuck out of that bumper. There was no buffing that one out. Oh, honey, it'll buff right out. I hope they have good insurance. Be their luck they got like a $5,000 deductible. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, back in the day, just to tell you how things are going, the maximum deductible was $500. Most people had $50 or $100. If you were a little shaky, you had a $500 deductible. Now, $1,000 deductible. And I would guarantee there's probably some insurance companies that got $2,000 or $3,000 deductible. Hell, on some cars that wouldn't cover straightening the license plate. The cost of repairing these cars nowadays, holy yatchafuck. A friend of mine, last year, his wife had a fairly new Lexus. And a dump truck took a wide corner and just biffed the corner of her car. Headlight fell out, bent the fender. I looked at it. I was like, not bad. So about 2 weeks later, I stopped over the house. I said, by the way, how much was the estimate on the Lexus? He said, $5,785. I was like, what? For a headlight and a fender? Well, in that corner was a $1,400 sensor about the size of a pack of cigarettes. $1,400 for a sensor. Now, luckily, they were able to straighten the fender, put a new headlight assembly in, but $1,400 for a sensor. Then people wonder why there are so many total loss cars. I told you once before, a friend of mine is an adjuster for an insurance company. He said, if he walks out into a towing yard and he spots the vehicle and all of the airbags are detonated, total, he says, I don't even have to walk any farther. Total loss, just for airbags. He said on some of these vehicles, the damage to the front of the car isn't that bad. But when you knock that main sensor, it detonates all the airbags. That will make your car a total loss. That's why Grumpy will continue to drive two 1997 shitboxes. I don't have all them sensors. Hit the front of my truck, total loss. Even without a sensor. Of course, if she would have hit the front of my truck, there would have been just this big pile of rust in the parking lot. They'd have went, gee, there was a truck sitting there before. I'd be sitting on the frame rails, brushing the rust off my forehead, going, what hit me? But I'll continue to drive it. Even if I'm sitting on a milk crate on the frame rails. I'll just put a tent around me to keep warm. I wouldn't take a new vehicle if they gave it to me. It was like with my sister. She's got I think it's a 2017 Ford Edge. One day she'd driving to work, and every now and then the engine had a little misfire. You know, drive along. Doop, doop, doop. But no big deal. Until she took it to the dealer. And the service director called her and said, we got the good news and we got bad news. She said, well, what's the good news? You're going to get a free rental car. She said, okay, what's the bad news? We need to replace the engine. She said, what? Yeah. Whatever that little miss was, they had to replace the engine. Luckily, she got a brand new crate engine from Ford. Not a rebuild, brand new complete engine. Then, when they were pulling the engine out of her car to replace it, they bent the fuck out of the front suspension system. So while they were replacing the engine, she got a complete new front end on the car. New suspension, new struts, new rack and pinion, all brand new. She says to me today, she goes, yeah, it's a 2017. You think I should keep it? I said, Jesus Christ, you got a whole brand new front end on the car and a brand new engine. The body is perfect. Sure, keep it. Why spend the money for a new one? I said, you had what? 70,000 miles on the old engine? Now you got a brand new engine. So you got a car with a new engine and a body with 70,000 miles. That still looks like brand new. Why waste your money? Drive it till it drops. Yeah. Whatever the little misfire was, they had to replace the whole engine. Brand new from the factory, out of the crate. What? Yep. 0 miles. Now, it had an hour or two on the engine because they run them on a test stand. Every engine comes off the assembly line. They run on a test stand. So they ran this one, went A-okay, put it in the crate, and then it went right from the factory to the dealer and gently installed in her car. That's why I wouldn't own a new car. Like mine. If it's got a misfire, it's going to be one of a couple things. Spark plug wire, cap, rotor, maybe the points. That's it. Not on these new cars. But yeah, I couldn't believe it when she called me and went, guess what I'm getting? I said, what? She goes, a brand new engine. I said, brand new engine? You just had a little misfire. That's what I said. But the service manager said, we have to replace the engine. And that's on a 2017. Can you imagine on a 2024? Even more junk and shit and crap on these engines. They don't even look like engines. You open the hood like, where's the engine? What's that big ugly thing under the hood? Don't look like an engine to me. Just saying. I have my eye on something. Grumpy is trying to resurrect another standard transmission vehicle. Yeah. Now, it's not something I would normally buy, but it's a 5-speed. And Grumpy, you know him, save the manuals. Yeah. I'm negotiating on it. It's not something I would normally own. But it's a manual. And I hate to see a manual transmission car go to the boneyard when it only takes a little bit to repair it. But yeah, it's a 5-speed. Oh. Grumpy could add one more manual to the fleet. If it was an automatic, I'd say, junk the son of a bitch. But it's a 5-speed. And it's got a new clutch. Oh. Yeah, there's a little quirky thing in the motor, but I think I got that figured out. Kind of simple repair, but I'm not going to tell the guy that owns it. I just told him, I said, these vehicles are really quirky and expensive to fix. He goes, yeah, I know. I got the bill for the clutch. Yeah, he no sooner put a clutch in it than something else fucked up on it. And he was like, oh, I'm done with it. It's been sitting for quite a while. So the first thing I have to do is drain the gas, flush the whole fuel system. But it's a manual. 5-speed. Grumpy will drive manual transmissions until he takes the dirt nap. Yeah, I love my manuals. The only thing is, this would be, if I had my choice, I wouldn't be, no, not that vehicle. But when he said it's a manual, I went, oh, okay, let's talk. Yeah. The only good thing, besides it being a manual, it's green. Dark metallic green. And Grumpy loves green. So, I will keep you posted on the 5-speed negotiations. And with that, I think I need to negotiate with the oven because I need to preheat it for my quiche. And with that, let's play a little exit music here. And with that, friends, Grumpy and the sidekick Vulture bid you a good evening from the brand new Soundstage 1A. And we will meet again tomorrow night. Have a wonderful evening. See ya.